Welcome to Coins News Daily Hidden Treasure Alert. The rarest Lincoln Wheat Pennies in America revealed. Some people found these coins in their change, and sold them for millions. Thanks with love for watching. If you enjoyed this video about rare and valuable coins, don't forget to like, share and comment below, and make sure you subscribe to Coins News Daily so you never miss amazing rare coin discoveries and values. Coin 1. Today we are diving into a small coin that many people overlook, but collectors around the world search for every single day. A coin that might be hiding quietly inside an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even in pocket change. This is the story of the United States of America Lincoln Wheat Penny from the year 1946 with no mint mark. At first glance it may look like an ordinary 1-cent coin, but once you understand its history, the tiny details in its design, and the rare varieties that collectors hunt for, you will realize why this coin has fascinated coin lovers for decades. The year 1946 was a very important moment in American history. World War II had just ended, and the United States was entering a new era of rebuilding and economic growth. During the war years, copper was extremely valuable for military equipment, so the United States Mint had already experimented with different materials, including the famous steel pennies of 1943. By 1946 the Mint returned to producing pennies made primarily from copper again, and millions of these Lincoln Wheat Pennies began circulating across the country. The Lincoln cent itself has a remarkable legacy. It was first introduced in 1909 to celebrate the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln, one of the most respected presidents in American history. The design was created by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner. On the front of the coin you can see the calm and thoughtful portrait of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Above his head appears the word Liberty, while the year of minting is placed just in front of him. On the back of the coin are two simple wheat stalks curving along the sides, which is why collectors lovingly call these coins wheat pennies. Now let's focus on the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark. When a Lincoln cent has no mint mark, it means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Philadelphia was the first mint of the United States, and for many years it did not place a mint mark on coins. Because of that tradition, many pennies from Philadelphia simply show the year without any additional letter. In 1946 the Philadelphia Mint produced a massive number of pennies. Over 900 million coins were struck that year. With such a large production, most examples are common and easy to find. But here is where things become interesting. Even though the mintage was huge, the condition of the coin and the presence of minting errors can dramatically increase its value. Condition is everything in the world of coin collecting. A penny that has been used in circulation for decades will show scratches, worn details, and faded color. But a coin that was preserved carefully, perhaps stored in a coin roll or collection, can still look bright and sharp even after many decades. Collectors use grading scales to measure this condition, from heavily worn coins to nearly perfect uncirculated examples. When a 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark appears in extremely high-grade condition, collectors become very interested. Coins with strong red copper color, sharp wheat lines on the reverse, and clear details in Lincoln's hair and coat can command significantly higher prices than ordinary circulated examples. Another factor that creates excitement among collectors is minting errors. During the minting process, thousands of coins are struck every hour, and occasionally small mistakes occur. These mistakes can transform an ordinary coin into a highly desirable collectible. One type of error collectors watch for is a double die variety. This happens when the design is accidentally impressed onto the coin die more than once at slightly different angles. The result is a noticeable doubling in letters or numbers. On some Lincoln cents, collectors can see doubling in the date or in the word Liberty. If such doubling appears clearly on a 1946 penny, the coin immediately becomes more attractive to collectors. Another fascinating possibility is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank coin planchet is not perfectly aligned under the die during the strike. The design appears shifted to one side, leaving part of the coin blank. Coins with dramatic off-center strikes are rare and often become unique conversation pieces in a collection. Collectors also search for coins with die cracks or die breaks. These occur when the metal die used to stamp the design begins to wear out or crack from repeated use. The crack leaves a raised line across the surface of the coin. Some collectors enjoy these features because they represent a moment in the life of the minting equipment. The color of a copper penny can also influence its desirability. Coin graders classify copper coins into three main color categories. Brown coins have fully aged and darkened over time. Red-brown coins show a mixture of original red color and darker tones. The most valuable examples are classified as red coins, which still retain the bright copper color they had when they were first minted decades ago. Imagine discovering a 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark that still shines with its original red color. The wheat stalks on the reverse appear crisp, and Lincoln's portrait shows every detail. For collectors, finding a coin like that feels like uncovering a tiny piece of preserved history. Many coin collectors love wheat pennies because they are both historical and approachable. Unlike extremely rare gold coins or ancient artifacts, wheat pennies were everyday currency. People bought groceries, paid for newspapers, and used them in vending machines. Each coin carries the silent story of all the hands it passed through. Because of this history, searching through old coin rolls or inherited collections can be very exciting. Sometimes collectors discover valuable coins hiding among ordinary ones. A small detail, a tiny error, or an exceptional state of preservation can make all the difference. The 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny also connects collectors to the period just after the Second World War. Families were rebuilding their lives, soldiers were returning home, and the American economy was shifting toward peace. Every coin from that year is a reminder of that moment in time. For new collectors, the 1946 penny is a wonderful starting point. It is old enough to feel historical, yet still common enough that beginners can realistically find one. Learning to examine the details of this coin can teach valuable skills that apply to all coin collecting. When examining a 1946 penny, collectors often start by checking the date and confirming that there is no mint mark below it. Next they observe the sharpness of Lincoln's hair, the bow tie, and the lines in the wheat stalks on the reverse. They may also use magnification to look for doubling, cracks, or other unusual features. Lighting is also important. A good light source can reveal subtle textures and shine on the coin's surface. Under proper lighting, the difference between a worn coin and a well-preserved example becomes very clear. Another important step is proper storage. Even though copper coins are durable, they can still react to moisture, oils from fingers, and environmental chemicals. Collectors often store valuable pennies in protective holders, coin flips, or graded slabs to keep them safe for the future. Over the years, auction houses and professional grading companies have carefully evaluated many examples of the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny. These organizations help establish trusted standards for grading and authentication, which allows collectors to confidently buy and sell coins around the world. While most 1946 pennies are modest in value, exceptional examples have achieved impressive results in the collector market. Coins that combine beautiful red color, near-perfect surfaces, and strong strike quality are especially sought after by advanced collectors. And now we come to the question many viewers are waiting for. What is the real market value of the 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark? In typical circulated condition, a 1946 Lincoln Wheat Penny with no mint mark usually sells for about $1 to $3. In bright uncirculated condition with strong detail and attractive color, the coin can reach a value of around $20 to $50 depending on its grade. But in extremely high mint state grades with full original red color, examples have reached auction values of around $200 to $500, and in the finest known certified conditions, rare top-grade examples have achieved auction prices approaching several $1,000s among serious collectors. So the next time you see an old wheat penny, take a closer look. That small copper coin might be more than just 1 cent. It could be a piece of history, a collector's treasure, and perhaps even a valuable discovery waiting to be found. Coin 2. We are going to explore a small coin that many people overlook every single day. A coin that may be hiding quietly in an old jar, a forgotten drawer, or even in your pocket change. Yet for collectors and coin lovers, this tiny copper piece carries a fascinating story of American history, wartime production, rare varieties, and surprising value. Stay with me until the end of this video because the coin we are talking about today is the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny, and some examples of this coin have sold for impressive prices in the collector's market. The Lincoln cent is one of the most recognizable coins in the United States. It was first introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of Abraham Lincoln. The design was created by the talented sculptor Victor David Brenner, and it was the first regular United States coin to feature the portrait of a real historical person. On the front of the coin you see the calm and dignified profile of Abraham Lincoln facing to the right. Around him appear the words "In God We Trust" above, "Liberty" on the left, and the year of issue on the right. On the back of the coin you will see the classic wheat ears design. Two tall wheat stalks frame the words 1 cent and United States of America. At the very top appears the motto E pluribus unum. Because of this beautiful design, collectors often call these coins wheat pennies or wheat cents. This design remained in circulation from 1909 until 1958, when it was later replaced by the Lincoln Memorial reverse. Now let us focus on the star of today's video, the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny. The letter D located under the year indicates that the coin was minted at the Denver Mint in Colorado. During 1942 the United States was deeply involved in World War II. Copper was an extremely important metal used in military equipment, ammunition, and electrical components. Because of this, the U.S. Mint was preparing to change the composition of the penny. Most people know that in 1943 pennies were made from steel coated with zinc instead of copper. But what many collectors do not realize is that 1942 was the final full year that pennies were struck in the traditional bronze alloy before that historic change. That makes the 1942 pennies an important transitional year in American coinage history. The bronze composition of the 1942 Lincoln cent consisted of about 95% copper with the remainder made up of tin and zinc. This composition gives the coin its warm reddish-brown color when freshly minted. Over time, depending on storage and circulation, the coin may turn brown or develop a darker chocolate tone that many collectors appreciate. The Denver Mint produced more than 200 million Lincoln cents in 1942. At first glance that number might sound very large, and it is. However, survival in high-grade condition is a completely different story. Most of these coins circulated heavily during the war years. People used them every day to buy food, supplies, and necessities. Because of this, many coins became worn, scratched, or damaged over time. Collectors pay very close attention to condition when evaluating a coin. A coin that still has its original mint luster, sharp details in Lincoln's hair, and strong lines in the wheat stalks on the reverse can be far more valuable than a heavily worn example. That is why grading plays such an important role in determining the value of a 1942 wheat penny, but condition is only one part of the story. The world of coin collecting becomes even more exciting when we talk about minting errors and rare varieties. Sometimes during the minting process small mistakes occur. These mistakes can create unique coins that stand out from the millions of normal pieces. One interesting variety collectors search for is the double die effect. This happens when the coin die receives a misaligned impression during the hubbing process. The result can create a subtle doubling in the letters or numbers on the coin. When collectors examine a coin under magnification they might notice doubling in the date or the word Liberty. Another type of error that fascinates collectors is the repunched mint mark. In earlier decades mint marks were punched into the die by hand. Occasionally the mint worker would punch the letter more than once if the first attempt was not perfectly positioned. This can leave traces of the mint mark slightly offset from the main letter. On a 1942 penny, collectors carefully examine the mint mark area looking for signs that the D was punched more than once. There are also off-center strikes where the coin blank was not perfectly aligned in the press. This creates a coin where part of the design is missing and the rim appears unusually wide on one side. These dramatic-looking coins often capture the attention of collectors because every piece looks different. Die cracks and die breaks are another category of mint errors. As coin dies wear out from striking thousands of coins, small cracks can form on the surface of the die. When this happens the crack appears as a raised line on the coin itself. Some collectors enjoy studying these lines because they reveal the life story of the die used during production. Collectors also pay attention to color classification for copper coins. A freshly preserved coin with bright original copper color is often described as red. Coins that have partially toned over time are called red-brown. Coins that have completely darkened are classified as brown. In higher grades, red examples are usually much more valuable because they show how the coin looked when it left the mint more than 80 years ago. Imagine holding a small piece of copper that was minted in Denver during the height of World War II. This coin might have traveled through the hands of soldiers, shopkeepers, and families buying groceries during a challenging time in history. Every scratch and mark can represent decades of circulation and stories that we may never fully know. For coin collectors, the thrill often comes from searching through rolls of pennies, old piggy banks, or inherited collections hoping to discover a hidden treasure. Many valuable coins have been found by ordinary people simply taking the time to look carefully at the dates and mint marks. The 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny is a perfect example of how a common-looking coin can become exciting when you start learning about its history, condition, and possible varieties. A worn example might only be worth a small amount above face value, but a well-preserved coin with strong details and original color can attract serious interest from collectors. Professional grading companies carefully examine coins under magnification and assign them a grade based on condition. Coins that receive very high grades can sometimes sell for dramatically higher prices because collectors compete to own the finest known examples. Now let us finally talk about the real market value and auction prices for the 1942 Lincoln Wheat Penny. In circulated condition, these coins commonly sell for around $1 to $5 depending on detail and color. Uncirculated examples with strong luster often sell in the range of $20 to $60. High-grade certified examples in near-gem condition have sold for several $100s. The finest known examples graded at the very top of the scale have reached auction results of around $6,000. So the next time you come across an old wheat penny, take a closer look. That tiny copper coin might not just be spare change. It might be a small but fascinating piece of American history waiting to be discovered by someone who knows what to look for. And who knows, the next valuable coin could already be sitting quietly in your collection. Coin 3. We are diving into a small coin that many people overlook but collectors quietly search for with great excitement. Imagine opening an old jar of pennies, sorting through them one by one, and suddenly discovering a coin that collectors across the country recognize instantly. A coin that looks ordinary at first glance but holds a fascinating story of American history, minting technology, and hidden value. Today our spotlight is on the United States of America Lincoln 1-cent 1950 Wheat Penny. The Lincoln Wheat Penny series is one of the most beloved coin designs ever produced in the United States. It first appeared in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln. The coin was designed by the famous sculptor Victor David Brenner. On the front you see the calm and thoughtful portrait of Lincoln facing to the right. Around him you read the words "In God We Trust, Liberty, and the Year of Minting." On the reverse side is the classic wheat design. Two wheat stalks curve along the left and right sides of the coin. In the center you read 1 cent and United States of America. Above those words appears the motto E Pluribus Unum. This design became known among collectors as the wheat penny because of those two iconic wheat ears. For nearly 50 years, Americans carried these coins in their pockets, paid for candy with them, and dropped them into jars at home. Now let's talk about the year 1950 and the Denver Mint mark. The small letter D under the year indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint in Colorado. The Denver facility was one of the busiest mints in the country, producing hundreds of millions of coins every year. In 1950 the Denver Mint struck a very large number of Lincoln Wheat Pennies. At first glance that might make the coin seem very common, but here is where things become interesting for collectors. Even when a coin is produced in large numbers, certain factors can turn ordinary coins into valuable treasures. Condition, minting quality, rare varieties, and mint errors can transform a simple penny into a collectible worth far more than its face value. Collectors always begin by examining the condition of the coin. A coin that circulated for years in pockets and cash registers usually becomes worn. The details of Lincoln's hair fade. The wheat stalks lose their sharp lines. These coins are common and usually worth only a small premium above 1 cent, but when a 1950 wheat penny survives in exceptional condition, collectors start paying attention. Coins that were never circulated can still show bright red copper color, strong luster, and crisp details. These are known among collectors as red uncirculated coins. Because copper naturally darkens over time, finding an original red example from 1950 can be surprisingly difficult. Now imagine a collector discovering a nearly perfect coin from that year. No scratches, no wear, brilliant red surfaces, and razor-sharp details. In the coin collecting world, such coins are graded on a numerical scale. The highest grades represent coins that look almost exactly as they did the moment they left the mint. High-grade examples of the 1950 wheat penny are far scarcer than people might expect, but condition alone is not the only thing collectors search for. The world of coin collecting becomes even more exciting when we talk about mint errors. During the minting process, millions of blank metal discs move through machines that strike the coin designs under intense pressure. Occasionally something goes wrong. When that happens, unique and unusual coins are created. These mistakes are called mint errors, and they often become the most fascinating pieces in a collection. One type of error collectors watch for is the doubled die. This occurs when the die that stamps the coin receives a slight misalignment during its creation. The result is a doubling effect on certain letters or numbers. On a wheat penny, doubling might appear on the date, the word Liberty, or even parts of Lincoln's portrait. Under magnification, the letters appear to have a shadow or second outline. Another exciting possibility is a repunched mint mark. In earlier decades, mint marks were sometimes punched into the dies by hand. If the mint worker did not align the punch perfectly, the mark might be struck again in a slightly different position. The result can be a mint mark that shows traces of multiple impressions. A 1950 penny with a noticeable repunched mint mark can attract strong interest from collectors. There are also off-center strikes. In this situation, the coin blank was not perfectly positioned when the die struck it. The result is a coin where part of the design is missing and a blank crescent of metal appears on one side. The more dramatic the off-center strike while still showing the full date, the more desirable it becomes to collectors. Another fascinating error is the die crack. Over time, the intense pressure used to strike coins can cause tiny cracks in the die surface. When a cracked die strikes a coin, a raised line appears across the design. Some collectors enjoy studying these die cracks because they tell a story about the life of the die inside the minting press. Sometimes the dies themselves become worn and produce coins with softer details known as die deterioration. In certain cases, these features create collectible varieties that specialists search for. Now imagine someone searching through a jar of old pennies inherited from a grandparent. Among hundreds of ordinary coins sits a bright copper wheat penny dated 1950 with a small D mint mark. At first it seems like just another penny. But under closer inspection the surfaces glow with original red color. The letters are sharp and bold. There might even be a small doubling on the date or a repunched mint mark hiding in plain sight. This is exactly the moment collectors dream about. Coin collecting is often called a treasure hunt because valuable pieces can appear in the most unexpected places. Old piggy banks, forgotten drawers, estate sales, and flea markets have all revealed remarkable coins over the years. Even though billions of pennies were produced, certain high-quality examples survived purely by chance. Another reason the 1950 wheat penny remains interesting is its place in history. The early 1950s were a time when the United States economy was expanding after World War II. Everyday coins like the wheat penny circulated through diners, grocery stores, and small-town banks across the country. Holding one of these coins today is like holding a tiny piece of that era. Collectors appreciate coins not only for their value but also for the stories they carry. Each scratch or mark may represent years of travel through countless hands. Some pennies may have paid for a newspaper, a bus ride, or a piece of candy many decades ago. Because copper coins are sensitive to the environment, preserving them properly is extremely important. Experienced collectors store their coins in protective holders or albums to prevent damage. Keeping coins away from moisture and harsh cleaning methods helps maintain their original surfaces. In fact, cleaning a coin can reduce its value dramatically because collectors prefer natural surfaces. For new collectors, wheat pennies offer an exciting starting point. They are historic, beautiful, and still occasionally found in circulation or coin rolls from banks. Searching through rolls of pennies has become a popular hobby known as coin roll hunting. Many enthusiasts spend hours checking each coin carefully, hoping to find an overlooked treasure, and sometimes that treasure is a simple penny with the right combination of date, mint mark, condition, or mint error. Now let's finally talk about the real market value of the 1950 Lincoln Wheat Penny. A circulated example with normal wear is usually worth around 3 to 10 cents depending on its condition. A bright uncirculated example with strong red color can reach about $5 to $20 in the collector market. Exceptional high-grade coins graded at the very top levels have sold at auction for more than $1,500 depending on quality and eye appeal. And rare error varieties or extraordinary specimens can command even higher prices when competitive collectors meet in major auctions. So the next time you see a small copper penny dated 1950 with a tiny D mint mark, take a closer look. What seems like an ordinary coin might actually be a piece of history hiding in plain sight, waiting for a careful collector to discover its true story and value.